Look at this. So we knock out Dondozo. And then Tatsugiri can't move this turn because it was in Dondozo's mouth. The Terrablast doesn't KO, but it does pretty good damage. This is my third video now showcasing a team used in the recent Gdansk Regional Championship. We've already seen the two teams from the final, the Rain team that won the tournament and the Sun team that was the runner-up. But this was the team that perhaps got the most attention that weekend. The Charizard team got a lot of attention too, but I saw a lot of people talking before day 2 even started about how a Prinplup had made it. I don't know that Prinplup actually played a major role in this team. I've heard rumors that it didn't really contribute all that much to the run, but it certainly is here, and it certainly did make day 2 at a regional, and we'll see if we can do something with it today. So, this team is your basic Indeedee, Delphox, Psyspam stuff. So a lot of fast offense there. Indeedee also able to use Trick Room and Imprison to prevent an opponent from setting Trick Room, at least for a little while. Then you have Psychic Seed, Unbird, and Sneasler, able to give you that extra bit of speed control and hit targets quickly. And of course, fish for Dire Claw luck if that's what you need in a given situation. What else? Terra Fighting Delphox with Terra Blast. That'll be good for me to keep in mind as we go here. And then Assault Vest King Gambit. This one carrying Stone Edge, so able to cover for... Well, able to cover for Charizard with that, although I think King Gambit can handle Charizard anyway. I don't necessarily know what Stone Edge is covering here. Dragonite, maybe? But, hey, we'll see what happens when we get on the ladder with it. And then, keeping the offensive pressure up, we have Choice Specs, Alolan Ninetales, spamming Blizzards that I think will actually hit fairly hard despite its middling special attack stat with that Choice Specs boost. So a ton of offense on this team, and then I guess if I run into a Dondozo, I consider bringing Prinplup, which of course here has Haze and Helping Hand. I don't necessarily know what the Fairy Terra Blast is for, but sometimes you just have to get on the ladder and see what you can do with the team. And this looks like it's going to be an interesting team for sure. A lot of powerful offense on this one, and also a Prinplup. So, we got Sneasler, Rillaboom, King Gambit, Alolan Ninetales, Volcarona, and Electabuzz. I think I lead Sneasler into this for sure. And start clicking Dire Claw. I think I can lead it with Indeedee, get the Psychic Seed activated. And then bring Delphox in the back. Of course I can lose terrain control to the Rillaboom, so we'll try not to. And I probably just bring Ninetales in the last slot. It's not great into a couple of these Pokemon, but the same goes for King Gambit. And if I land Blizzard into the right targets, that could be pretty helpful here. It'll at least give some offensive cover so that Pokemon like Delphox can do their job. Hopefully. We'll see once the opponent has made their choices here. So we're getting Indeedee and Sneasler in against their Ninetales and Volcarona. I don't want to let Volcarona set up, so I'll just go right for an Expanding Force with Indeedee, and I kind of want a Dire Claw on Ninetales. I'm also alert to a possible Flame Body on Volcarona, and of course Sneasler with Unburden active will still be faster than Volcarona after a Quiver Dance, so I can Dire Claw it then if I want. I will just go for the Dire Claw into Ninetales right here. Volcarona actually protects. Ninetales is paralyzed, and it'll drop the Expanding Force, so we denied a possible Aurora Veil there. That's pretty good. They get their Sneasler in. They don't have a Seed, so they don't have a Psychic Seed, so even if it's Unburdened Sneasler, it won't be activated until I've attacked it. I think I'm just going to Expanding Force and Dire Claw that slot again, and potentially put their Sneasler to sleep or something. We paralyze it too. And yeah, that Expanding Force does a lot to Volcarona. There's their Quiver Dance. I would consider Dire Clawing Volcarona next turn, but they actually forfeit here. Obviously, I was pretty lucky there getting the Paralysis twice in a row with my Dire Claw, but I don't know that it actually mattered that much to this game. I don't know what kind of speed stat they had on their Ninetales. It's possible that they would have gotten Aurora Veil up if not for that para, so I can't evaluate with the information I have how important the paralysis really was. Maybe it mattered, maybe a lot, maybe it didn't. But yeah, Sneasler and Indeedee putting in a lot of work there. And once again, my ladder rating has gotten over 1600 ahead of the release of the video where I note that it did that for the first time. So don't be surprised in a later video when I say I've gone over 1600 for what I think is the first time. I don't have a short memory, I'm just recording out of order. Anyway, on to the next one. Oh, and we see a Dondozo matchup. And an Archaludon, so you know what? I probably actually will bring Prinplup to this game. See if I can put in some amount of work. That said, I think I like leading in DD Sneasler again. Get Sneasler speed boosted again, start throwing off Dire Claws into Pokemon like Pelipper, maybe even Dondozo, if we see that before the Tatsugiri comes in. So let's lead with those two again. I think the Terra-Fighting Delphox might actually be my best Archaludon answer, so I'll bring that, and yeah, Prinplup in the back this time. Maybe it would be good to be bringing Ninetales and be able to turn off their rain, but, you know, I want to see if Haze Prinplup can do something about this Dondozo. So, I'm just going to click Expanding Force and Dire Claw into Dondozo. They go right for the setup with the Tatsugiri. They're a Water Dondozo, and they got the rain up, so they're looking to maximize damage. Oh, and it's Surf Dondozo. Knocks out Sneasler, knocks Indeedee down to its Sash. I did not get a Dire Claw status this time. I got pretty good damage into the Dondozo. And I can get Prinplup in here. I don't have Protect on Indeedee, but it's probably best to leave it in and not switch to Delphox. So I'll just click Expanding Force and Haze. And I'll probably lose Indeedee here, but hopefully get Delphox in with a reasonable position. Although, of course, Delphox being weak to Pelipper both before and after Terra is not great when the only other Pokemon I have left is Prinplup. So this Surf Dondozo might have just gotten me. That's a cool set to see. Surf Dondozo had a moment in one of the earlier regulations. I don't remember which one. Actually, Indeedee will survive this turn. Don't know that I really needed the Haze, though. Dondozo's already so low, but we should be able to knock it out here. I actually could Fairy Terra Blast the Tatsugiri, too. That's actually a pretty good use. Well, yeah, for the Terra Fairy Prinplup. So I'm going to do it and hope that I don't need fighting Delphox later. Look at this. So we knock out Dondozo. And then Tatsugiri can't move this turn because it was in Dondozo's mouth. The Terra Blast doesn't KO, but it does pretty good damage. So there's Terra Fairy Prinplup putting in some work there. I still have Psychic Terrain up, so I think I'll Expanding Force, Helping Hand, and hope that Indeedee is faster than Tatsugiri. It isn't. Okay. Well. Yeah, there's probably a better play to make there. I think Delphox is going to lose now. I still have one more turn of Psychic Terrain, so I can Expanding Force here. Try to get rid of Tatsugiri and get some damage on Archaludon. It's probably Scarf Tatsugiri, though, right? Because, yeah, it is Scarf Tatsugiri, or else Delphox would be faster. So they got me with that. Delphox drops to Archaludon. But hey, honestly, Prinplup didn't put in that much work that game, but we saw what a little bit of what the Terra Fairy set can do. And what's next? Okay, this looks very similar to the first team I faced. In fact, it might be the same one. I think these are the same 6 Pokemon, right? I don't know if it's literally the same player. I hope not. I didn't pay attention to their username. But I definitely hope not, because I'm just going to bring the same 6 myself. Or the same 4, I mean, myself. They led the same way. Well, I guess we get a chance now to find out how much that Dire Claw paralysis mattered in that first game. Turn 1 goes exactly the same way so far. And this time we put the Ninetales to sleep. If this is the same opponent, man, they just can't catch a break. Feels kind of bad. Although, here they'll bring in Rillaboom. So that's different. I think I want to Dire Claw that. Well, they could fake out Sneasler. But if they fake out Sneasler, then they're only threatening it offensively if Volcarona attacks instead of setting up, which isn't the worst thing. I'll Terra Blast Volcarona, and I'll try to Dire Claw Rillaboom. They do fake out Sneasler. Terra Blast does some chip. Okay, and they go for Quiver Dance. I guess I'll risk the Dire Claw into Volcarona now. And go for another Terra Blast as well. Just try to get this Pokemon out of here. Obviously, carries some risk. Grassy Glide does a lot to Indeedee, but it doesn't KO. And Dire Claw KOs Volcarona. Nice. And it might be worth it for me to switch Indeedee out here and be able to get my Psychic Terrain back up since I have Delphox in the back. So I'll potentially sack Ninetales. Yeah, and I think Dire Claw will KO Rillaboom if it connects. My Sneasler should be faster because theirs doesn't have Unburden activated, if it has Unburden at all. Dire Claw does KO Rillaboom. They're down to just Sneasler. I still have 4 Pokemon, including after their Dire Claw. Now I can Dire Claw their Sneasler, but there's no need because they forfeit. So this team really is just feasting on that particular matchup. The Dondozo, well, at least the Surf Dondozo was dicier. Here's another Rain team, but no Dondozo on this one. Might be worth bringing Ninetales this time to be able to turn the Rain off. They don't have terrain control, so some kind of Indeedee lead could be very strong right off the bat. I think I'm still liking the Indeedee Sneasler lead. But then I'm kind of talking myself into bringing Delphox and Ninetales, but I might prefer Kingambit and Ninetales. Kingambit is strong into a lot of these Pokemon. I think it's worth it. But yeah, I think I do bring Ninetales. The Archaludon is potentially a problem, but we'll see what damage we can get into it here. I kind of want to Dire Claw Amoonguss, though, for a couple of reasons. One, it could click Rage Powder, and two, if I just go for close combat into Archaludon turn 1, I'm going to feel pretty silly if Archaludon terastallizes. So let's just click Expanding Force and Dire Claw Amoonguss. I also could probably KO the Amoonguss with the double up here, if they let me. I switch Archaludon out to Gholdengo, Terra Water, Amoonguss, put to sleep by Dire Claw. I have had good Dire Claw luck today. It kind of frees me up to Throat Chop Gholdengo if I want. But I actually think it might be better to protect Sneasler and see whether the Gholdengo terastallizes or what else it might go for here. And yeah, we'll try to knock out Amoonguss with his Expanding Force, unless it switches out and gets some Regenerator recovery, but even then, it'll still be asleep when it comes back in. Gholdengo actually just protects. Amoonguss wakes up and also protects. Okay. Now they can definitely get the Regenerator if they want, but I think Indeedee is still best off just throwing off Expanding Force here. And I can Terra Dark Throat Chop Gholdengo. Rage Powder. Right, of course. I was accounting for that earlier, but that turn I forgot to. Okay, but Sneasler takes that Make It Rain pretty well. Gholdengo takes the special attack drop. They get Pelipper in here. That means if they have Wide Guard, they can start clicking that. I think a lot of them don't have Wide Guard these days. But now I'll click Expanding Force. I don't think they have Wide Guard. Probably should have read the switch to Archaludon and clicked Close Combat there. Throat Chop still does reasonable damage, though. We knock Pelipper down to its Sash. And they finally knock out Sneasler. I'll go Ninetales here, because I can click Blizzard and Expanding Force. And if they don't have Wide Guard, that's going to be very strong. Ah, they do have Wide Guard. Okay. Well, if it were open team sheet, I would know that. Instead, I just lose Ninetales there. That's not great. They also can get Rain back up if they really want. And the Psychic Terrain is gone. I think I'm just gonna Terra... I can't Terra Blast the Pelipper slot because Gholdengo could come in. I don't want to risk doing no damage to that. So I'll Expanding Force the Pelipper slot and low kick Archaludon. Pelipper goes down, but Kingambit drops the Body Press. Yeah, okay. I needed to take the Wide Guard more seriously there. That one turn where I clicked 2 big spread attacks and did 0 damage kind of doomed me. But I didn't think very many Pelipper were running wide guard right now, so good on them for getting me with that. And you can play at least one more game here. This person only has 5 Pokemon. That's certainly a choice. But it's a strong 5. They have a whole Tail Room team with only 5 Pokemon. I kind of want to lead Indeedee Delphox into this. That puts out a lot of offensive pressure right away. And I think I bring Sneasler. And King Gambit's probably decent here. It does have to worry a bit about their Sneasler, but I have the Terra Flying. I could also bring Ninetales instead, but I think I'll go with King Gambit. Okay, Murkrow, Goldengo. I feel okay to just start blasting. Terra Steel, Goldengo. Oh, Rain Dance. They got me good with that. I didn't see that coming when the rest of this team doesn't have any rain component. It's a shame. A Terra fighting... Yeah, Delphox fighting Terra Blast could have made a very different game of this. I think I'm going to preserve Delphox, but I'm willing to let Indeedee go down, because I think Murkrow clicks Tailwind and then Goldengo knocks out my Pokemon. There's not really any good that comes from leaving Delphox in. I'll try to Terra Blast Goldengo. I don't think they'll let me, but I'll switch Delphox out to King Gambit. That should take the hit pretty nicely. And I can preserve Delphox to hopefully outspeed and damage things after their Tailwind ends. I'll go Sneasler here. Of course, I get the Psychic Seed, so Sneasler has boosted speed as if I have Tailwind up here, even though I don't. I'll go for Dire Claw into Murkrow and Sucker Punch into Goldengo. Ideally, I can remove Murkrow, or at least, you know, cripple it with Dire Claw status here, because if I'm saving Delphox for when their Tailwind wears off, I don't want them to be able to just set it back up. And the way this Goldengo is playing, I think it's probably choiced, so it should either drop to Sucker Punch or switch out. Either way, I don't think they get damage from that slot this turn. Oh, Psychic Terrain. Man, I talk about getting higher than ever before on the ladder, and I still messed that up. That, for whatever reason, I've always found that particular mistake hard to stop making. Alright. Let's switch it up then. Let's Throat Chop Goldengo with the speed boosted Sneasler, and Sucker Punch Murkrow. Because it's a flying type, that will work in the Psychic Terrain if it goes for an attack. Make a whole bunch of VGC videos, go to tournaments, climb the ladder. And I still click priority moves in Psychic Terrain once in a while. Ah, we don't quite KO the Murkrow. Full para? Nope. Okay. Get Delphox. The good news is the last turn of Tailwind. And with the Murkrow being paralyzed, still have a good chance to remove it. Don't especially like seeing their Sneasler here, especially as it also shows the Psychic Seed, so it's going to be able to knock Delphox out even without Tailwind. I think I'm going to go right for the Terra Flying on King Gambit so as to not drop to a close combat. But I don't have any real coverage into Sneasler with this King Gambit. Clearly I'm supposed to rely on the Psychic types, I guess, to cover Sneasler. I don't actually feel great about that. Even outside of a position like this, there are some Sneasler sets that seem like they could give this team a lot of trouble, now that I'm looking at it here, but nonetheless, I'll just Kowtow Cleave Sneasler, hopefully do a lot of damage and be able to Sucker Punch it next turn. Protect. So I miss a chance to get damage with Delphox. Sneasler is still free to knock out Delphox anytime it wants. I think I just have to hope that it doesn't do that, and I'll click Heat Wave and low kick into Ursaluna, I guess. But they do knock out Delphox, and then they knock out Kingambit. The Ursaluna outspeeding, so I said this looks like a Tail Room team, but I guess it's a faster Ursaluna. Maybe it's Trick Room, Imprison, Indeedee on their side too, and they just... yeah, their whole team of 5 Pokemon is built around the Tailwind mode. In any case, they got me there, and normally that would be the end of the video, but I'm going to get one more game, and I'm going to bring Prinplup no matter what, and we'll see if we can get Prinplup to put in a little bit more work, because this is its video, and it really hasn't done much yet. And honestly, this Sand team is not the worst situation for it. I think I'll lead Sneasler Prinplup, in fact. Prinplup, to the extent that it's able to offensively pressure anything, can do that to most of these Pokemon. Or, you know what, it might actually be better to lead Indeedee, so that I can click Imprison in front of Porygon too. Yeah, let's do Sneasler and Indeedee. And then Ninetales and Prinplup in the back. That might mean that I'm counting on Prinplup to beat Volcarona if they bring that, but let's see. I will, in this position... just click Close Combat, and Excadrill could be carrying a Focus Sash. I'm going to protect Sneasler, but I'm going to switch Indeedee out to Ninetales. Turn off their Sand. Terra Flying Tyranitar. Ninetales takes that Earthquake pretty well in the snow. The Rock Slide could be a problem. A little bit of a problem. I'll try to remove Excadrill if I can. They switch Tyranitar out, so they can get Sand back up, but nothing. We don't manage to knock out Excadrill. Even so, taking it down to its Sash is good. I'll bring Prinplup in here. Prinplup, I really need you to put in work, buddy. Try to remove the Excadrill, and it's gonna go for a Water Pledge. Yeah, I thought they might do that, but I didn't feel like I could risk them getting an attack off. The Water Pledge does decent damage to Volcarona, though, actually. It probably has Giga Drain, though. I think they typically do. And they managed to preserve the Excadrill, knock out Sneasler. So I probably just lose to Tyranitar and Excadrill at this point, but maybe Prinplup can surprise me. We did just finally get it a KO. I'm going to click the Terra Psychic with Indeedee so that if I get this Expanding Force off, it'll do extra damage. I could click Trick Room, actually, but let's just go down swinging here. And double into Tyranitar. Indeedee actually does get its attack off. This still doesn't do that much to Tyranitar. Prinplup loses the Eviolite, but it will connect this Water Pledge. That doesn't do much either. I'm assuming it's Assault Vest Tyranitar. But what can you do? And here I'll Expanding Force and Water Pledge. Hold on. Expanding Force did... Expanding Force will knock out Tyranitar here after a Helping Hand. So no Water Pledge, Helping Hand. It doesn't KO. Oh, the Psychic Terrain is gone. So it doesn't have the boost from the terrain. That's why even with the Helping Hand, it missed the KO into Tyranitar. Alright, that was the last game. I wanted to bring Prinplup to one more and see what it could do. And it did put in a little bit of work in that game, but it fell short in the end. Prinplup was a very fun and cool Pokemon to see in Day 2 of a regional, and I'm glad that player, you know, took a risk and got Prinplup to unexpected heights. But I think the rumors are true that it's not really that useful on this team, and not really a Pokemon that you should look at very closely if you're trying hard to win a regional. Still, it's a cool team. It got a lot of buzz for a reason, and I'm glad I got to give it a go here. And I think next week I'll have one more Gdansk team to feature before we move on to other tournaments.